Michael Mazarang here again, and today we're going to talk about basement waterproofing combined with foundation drainage improvements. We recently finished this project with one of the engineers that we work with on a constant basis. He decided to buy a home in the mountains as well and asked us to waterproof this home as well as improving the overall drainage. There were some evidence of water intrusion coming in from the high side, and as is many homes that are cut into slopes like this, the high side or the above grade soil location tends to leak, especially on these older CMU block walls. So as we inspected the home in the beginning, it was questionable of how much water was really coming into the structure, but the engineer wanted to spend the money to have this correction performed anyway. And it's a lovely home, and you can see here the basement connects up to the garage, and we can see that the house is graded it's facing the front of the structure from right to left. There is a deck on the back, which can also complicate matters. Water tends to intrude into crawl spaces and basements through or underneath the deck. There's a pattern of that in many places that we perform these types of operations. We also noted that the underground piping system for the gutters was pretty old and most likely was unfunctional at this time. The inspection of the basement did reveal unfortunately, the utilities at the right side of the basement where the work area was. In particular, we have the HVAC equipment as well as the water softener. And at the right front corner, the main electrical services coming into the house. So one of the challenges that you face when you do basement waterproofing. So our design for the system needed to address interior waterproofing as well as redirecting the drainage for this structure around the right side of the house, as well as discharging the discharge from the waterproofing system into a combined program. Attached here also is the footprint of the home, a basic floor plan, and a design for the actual repair itself, which included the foundation drainage, waterproofing, as well as application of liquid wall sealers, which we will get into later. But as we progressed through the project, we of course first started with the floor and then worked our way out to the outside to complete the foundation drainage. The first step in the process is to set up negative pressure and air scrubbers inside the basement work area environment. This step is performed to reduce the amount of dust that might spread around the house. A complete containment field is created before the crew starts to jackhammer the floor. Unfortunately, this process does require the use of a concrete saw and jackhammers to remove the concrete slab to expose the top of the footer. Once the top of the footer is exposed, a trench is introduced alongside the footer to enable to apply a control pipe and rock aggregate. The control pipe is installed along the footer at the bottom of the footer, where it will catch any hydrostatic pressure coming up from under the footer, as well as any of the drainage coming through the weep holes that we introduce every other cell in the block wall. This is a combined waterproofing system. In an effort to save the customer thousands of dollars on moving utilities, we decided to use what's called a trench drain system. A trench drain system was applied along the HVAC equipment as well as the water softener. This enabled us to not have to hire another third party to remove and replace these pieces of equipment, which could have potentially saved $10,000 on the project. Once the control pipe is added to the floor and the rocks and aggregate applied, the trench drain and the combined system can then be installed or directed to a sump basin, as you'll see here. The sump basin is at the right front corner of the house, and a control pipe or exit line will be installed along the right front corner, up and out, and combined with our foundation drainage system. Progressing through the project, you can see here most of the system has been deployed. The control pipe, aggregate, and the trench drain are installed. The system has been sloped towards the new sump area at the right front corner of the structure. This is a commercial sump basin equipped with a 1/2 horsepower pump and a standard exit line. You can also see here the last remaining section that needs to be patched, and you can see the combined system components there at the corner. The exit line is fully deployed, and we have sealed around the edges to make sure we won't get any seepage through the wall. You can also see here the 2 coats of liquid wall sealer that's been installed above the hard wall sealer. Hard wall sealer was chosen to put 24 inches above the system to hide the network of weep holes that was introduced into the block wall on every other cell. While the concrete patch is curing inside the basement, we can now focus on the exterior drainage improvements. As you can see, a control pipe has been introduced into the ground for all of our downspout discharges on the right side of the house. The crew carefully introduced an access trench, removed the sod, and excavated the dirt. And you can see here at the right front corner the discharge from the sump pump coming from the basement. Also tied into the same intersection is this downspout at the right front corner. The crew being careful not to crush the pipe as we go along into the front yard. The front yard is sloped gently from right to left, and the control pipe ends at some existing catch basins which were installed before we got here. You'll see here catch basin 1 here to the right of the walkway, and another catch basin inside the walkway proper. The exit line leading out to the street was flow tested for effectiveness. As the crew gets close to completing the exterior part of the project, before covering up the system, all of the pipes are checked, all of the catch basins are checked, all of the mechanical interfaces between the piping system and the catch basins are checked for full effectiveness, as well as making sure that they're mechanically sealed and silicone sealed for long-term longevity. The discharge pipe for the sump pump is tied into the combined system, and it is also flow tested for effectiveness. Once all system components have been checked, the crew carefully backfilled the excavation trench and returned the sod to its original position, as well as adding seed and straw for the final product. The final product certainly being one of our better programs, and the customer was certainly pleased with the results. If you have any questions about foundation drainage, waterproofing, liquid wall sealers, hard wall sealers, sump pumps, combined systems, we'd certainly appreciate a phone call. You can reach out to us at the number on your screen, or you can get on our website. We look forward to talking to you about basement waterproofing and hope you have a good rest of the day. Thank you very much for joining us. Take care.